What's going on, guys? Chase on Two Wheels here for a very exciting video. Now, you guys know I've been riding a specific motorcycle around that I've gotten on loan from Yamaha for a long time, and I told you guys I wasn't going to give that motorcycle back. Well, I finally did it, guys. I finally sent the check off, and now I own my dream bike. That dream bike is the 2019 Yamaha MT10, and I could not be more excited. Let's play some B-roll. I told you guys I was never gonna give this bike back, but I wanted to make a video talking through the reasons why I chose to buy the MT10, because I'm a super frugal guy. I'm also extremely lucky. I've been riding this bike around for over a year because Yamaha was nice enough to let me loan it for a while, you know, with media bikes and stuff like that. I really don't even need a motorcycle, but this thing is so good I had to buy it. So I figured I wanted to do a video and talk to you guys of why I chose to buy it, because I know it's a pretty popular motorcycle, and you might be out there thinking to yourself, I want an MT10, but I'm not sure if I should pull the trigger. Well, today we're gonna jump on the bike, ride around, and I wanna talk through the process of the things, the goods, the bads of what I took all in and made the decision of buying this motorcycle, and maybe that'll help you decide if you want to buy it for yourself or not. So we're gonna hop on the motorcycle and we're gonna talk about, should you buy an MT10? Let's have a conversation. See you guys on the bike. All right, so guys, before we jump on the bike, I did want to go over what I've personally done to the bike, so that way you guys know what I've done so far. As you guys can see, our buddies over at Motivation USA hooked us up with the SC Project exhaust here. We've got the OEM Yamaha bags for the side. Now the bags come with the little mounting hardware. You guys can't really see it while the bags are on, but there's this big mounting bar that attaches those. I've got a dash cam from Innov. It's a K5. I don't know, do you guys consider phone mounts as a modification to the motorcycle? Regardless, I've got a RAM mount. I've got the Yamaha frame sliders, which are these guys, which are these pretty cool. I love the shape of those. And the taller windscreen. So we've got the added windscreen. As you guys know, there's like a little bikini fairing that literally just comes to here. I've still got that in case I ever want to do like a track day or something, but for the everyday riding, I like to call what this is the MT10 in dad mode. Got storage in the bags here. I've got wind protection here. This makes it more of a everyday rider motorcycle. That way, you know, I got a bad back, so like I can put stuff in the bags, it doesn't hurt my back. But honestly, that's about it. I haven't done a lot to the thing. You guys might be asking yourselves, Chase, you've had the MT10 for like a year. How have you only done that stuff on it? So the reason it doesn't have a ton of mods and I haven't really made it my own is because I didn't own it. I didn't want to put a ton of, like the exhaust got sent to me. All the Yamaha parts, those were sent to me. I haven't put any money into the MT10 yet because, like, until you buy a motorcycle, you don't feel like it's yours, regardless if you plan on buying it or not. So I haven't really modified the bike to the way I want it to be yet. Now that I've got the title for it, you can bet your butt we're about to do a ton of stuff to it. I'll talk about that in the video. Just wanted to show you guys what the bike looked like and all the mods on it before we get started. But I'm gonna go get my gear on and we'll go for a ride on this beautiful, beautiful motorcycle. See you guys on the bike. All right, should you buy an MT10? Let's get this started, because the answer is yes if you're me, but you guys are not me, clearly. But what I'm going to be going over in today's video is why this bike was good for me. That way, if this bike is right for you, you'll know if your needs out of a motorcycle are similar to mine. So before we get the bike cranked up, the first reason I needed this motorcycle, and it was the right bike for me, is because of the engine. Now, the engine's phenomenal. We'll get into that, but the sound. Now, remember, we've got that SC Project exhaust on, and the bike sounds like this. Not too crazy, right? Kind of chill. Oh my God. So guys, just a little backstory for you guys that might be new to the channel. I rode super sports for the longest time. About half of the time I've been riding, I've been on super sports. So I come from a background of really liking a sporty platform on a motorcycle. The reasoning the MT10 was the right purchase for me was because I was getting to a point, like, I've got a bad back, so like riding super sports are really bad on my back. So I had to compromise. I had to find something where my body position could change. That's inevitably what brought me to the MT line. Now, there's a ton of amazing naked motorcycles out right now, but if you ask me, for the price, the MT10 is probably the best motorcycle, the best bang for buck you can get out of a bike right now. But the body position is what got me here, because I wanted something that I could have the ability to ride aggressively on, which I can here. But as you guys can see me sitting here, I'm upright. I've got a, oh, you know what? I forgot to tell you guys, I do have a comfort seat on the MT10. I've got the regular seat just in case I do a track day, but the comfort seat is what I keep on here, and it's the, you know, just stock one that you get from Yamaha, and my God, is it amazing. So if you guys are gonna ride a lot on an MT10, I do recommend that comfort seat. The MT10 shares the exact same, or relatively the same engine as the Yamaha R1, their highest level super sport. It's got that same cross-plane engine, and that's what you hear when we really get on the throttle on this thing. It's a phenomenal engine, and the people that know, I mean, bruh, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say I was getting bored with motorcycling, but I was just feeling down. I do all these first rides, and I just hadn't found my motorcycle. And then Yamaha reached out, you know, a year or so ago, and they were like, hey, do you want a loaner MT10? I was like, yeah, sure, I'll check it out. And the second I sat on this motorcycle, I knew. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever sat on a motorcycle and you just know the bike is for you. That happened for me with the MT10 like I have never felt before. To this day, a year later, when I ride the MT10 around, you know, I'll go and ride all these first drive bikes, and you know, there are some amazing motorcycles that I get the privilege to ride. Every time I sit back on this bike, I get that feeling every single time. So if you're out there looking for a motorcycle, just know that if you sit on the right one, everything clicks, and at least that's what's happening for me with this bike. One of the things I also like a lot about this motorcycle is the handlebars. The MT10 has a smaller wheelbase, so it is a pretty nimble motorcycle for its size, but those handlebars help that out so much because your weight is up here. You kind of just feel like you can just muscle this thing around, and as you guys can see, it's a 1000cc motorcycle, but with the handlebars and the body position, I can just move this thing around easy as anything. And I love that. It's not hard to ride this motorcycle. I do got to do a caveat though. This motorcycle has a lot of power. Now for me, I've been riding for over a decade. I am very familiar with, you know, how to control a motorcycle power-wise. This is not a motorcycle that you should get if you don't have a ton of experience. It is, I like calling it an expert level motorcycle. Somebody like me that's been riding for a decade, I always keep the bike in mode 3, as you guys can see. That is the slowest, look at this, my goodness. Mode 3 is the slowest riding mode, and I keep the bike there all the time. I never change it out of mode 3. The power is very smooth in mode 3, and I love that. But if you put this thing in mode 1, it becomes really twitchy. So it's cool for those people that want that, but I personally don't want that. Or, you know, I mean, even if I go to the mountains, even if I went and did a track day, I'd probably keep this bike in mode 3, honestly. It's got a lot of power, and it's hard to control that power sometimes. So I prefer a more comfortable ride as opposed to a more twitchy ride. I'm kind of out of my days of riding like an absolute psychopath. Another thing that I personally like about the bike, but I do know there's a lot of people out there that don't, that makes it the right bike for me, is the look. There's some motorcycles on the market, guys, that are just very polarizing. You know, you either really like it or you think it's the most disgusting motorcycle you've ever seen. I have seen multiple comments of like, oh my God, the MT10 is such an ugly motorcycle. Cool, bike's probably not for you then, but I think this bike looks like this cool Decepticon. So if a bike isn't, if you're not here for the looks of a motorcycle, you know, it's probably not the bike for you. If you're down for the looks, then this is such a good bike to have. As long as you're down for the looks and you have that riding experience. You can't, you know, you can't just ride an MT-03 for a year and then jump on an MT10. You're probably going to get yourself into a little bit of trouble. As you guys have noticed, you know, we're in like a little hillier road. In Mode 3 with moderate throttle, if you go over a little hill, your front wheel will just lift off the ground and float down eventually. It's that's just the level of power that this thing has. I'm gonna let this car get a little bit ahead of us because this is a special road. And I'm gonna show you why I like the smoothness of the power of this MT10. Also, if you guys are curious, I know I get a lot of comments about the red jacket when I wear it. This is an Engine Hog jacket. I think it's called the 916 Inferno or something. I have a link in the description if you're curious about it. This is just one of the jackets I wear occasionally, but I think you guys notice it a lot because of their eye. Do you guys see the hills up here? Watch this psychopath of a motorcycle. Up, wheels up, wheels up, wheels up, and down. As you guys could probably tell, that's moderate throttle. I'm not giving it a ton of throttle. I'm just slightly modulating it. And the bike the front wheel just feathers up. It's incredible. I absolutely love it. I cannot express how much I love the throttling on this bike. So another thing that I personally look for in a bike is multi-purpose. Now, back in the day, you know, I rode R6s for a while. And back in the day, dude, I just wanted a bike to go fast. You know, and I had R6, it did that job. But I've matured as a rider now, and I gotta have a bike that does a lot more stuff than just go fast. That's one of the things I loved about the MT10. As you guys can see, I've got it in what I call dad mode, which is a bigger windscreen, a comfort seat, and side bags. Now, the cool thing about the MT10 is that it's got the platform ready to go to do any type of riding that you want to do. If I wanted to do a track day, I could put on the regular windscreen, the little bikini fairing. I could take the side bags off, and I'm ready to go to the track. If I want to, you know, kind of dig more into the whole track thing, but it's just a really good platform to do all types of riding, because like the majority of the time I'm riding to work and then to home. And for this setup that I have right now, it's phenomenal. But it has the capabilities of doing a lot of other stuff, and I absolutely love that, man. I can have one motorcycle. I don't have to have a different track bike than I do my daily. I like having everything in kind of like one package, and that works out really well for me. I will say one of the super negatives that I cannot stand, and I'm going to do a whole separate video about all the negatives of this bike, but I gotta warn you guys, the miles per gallon on the MT10 is disgusting. I feel like I have to get gas all the time. Now, as you guys can see, the tank's pretty massive. It's a pretty big tank. The bike feels like a pretty bigger bike. It drinks gas so fast, and it is kind of annoying how much I have to get gas, but it's one of the downsides. You have to just like deal with that in order to have such a fun motorcycle. So one of the things that I was looking for in a motorcycle, that once you have it in your daily rider, it's almost like you can't go back. And that, my friends, is cruise control. Yes, just like a car, your bike will just stay at the same speed. Once you have this, and you have to ride a lot to really need this. If you don't do a ton of riding, if you're like only on the weekends, you might not really appreciate it to the point that somebody would if they ride all the time. It is one of those things where I think a lot of motorcyclists are like, oh, I don't need cruise control. It's like, bruh, power to you. If you don't need cruise control, don't get it. Honestly, the main time I use it is when I'm gonna go to the mountains. It's a lot of highway on the way to the mountains, so I'll just put this thing in cruise control, and as long as I got my windscreen, the highway's a breeze, dude. So I love cruise control. And honestly, like the downsides of this motorcycle are so few and far between that this thing is a no-brainer. we didn't really get into price, but brand new, the MT10 I think is like 12 grand. To have a motorcycle that has an R1 engine, can sound like this one does if you put a nice exhaust on it, has cruise control, is in a small wheel-based platform that you can just throw around. It just offers so much for that price. I don't know any other motorcycle that costs that little that you get this much out of, and I think that's what drew me to the MT10. Like, I'm frugal, dude. Like, so a purchase has to make a lot of sense for me to buy it. And when Yamaha offered me this MT10, I was like, dude, how do I say no to that on a motorcycle that arguably sparked my love again for riding? All I know is I finally have it. I finally have the bike, and I could not be happier with it. It is everything I want it to be, and I'll have to get back with you guys on what mods I want for it, because I haven't been able to really dig into what I want on this thing yet. But obviously you guys know this is my personal bike. I'll be updating you guys along the way as any modifications we get. We'll be installing them and making videos on it. That's it, guys. That's kind of why I chose the MT10. That's why I have this as my personal bike. Again, it's a motorcycle for a more experienced rider. I don't recommend just anybody go grab the MT10. It's a lot of power to deal with, and it's a pretty flicky motorcycle. So if you're able to handle everything that this bike has to offer, I think you guys are going to love it, especially if you're more on the frugal side and you don't like spending money. It's so good for the price. I can't get over how good the price is for everything you get. Oh, you get adjustable suspension. Not that I've adjusted it, but you can. But yeah, guys, hopefully this video helped you out. If you guys got any questions about the MT10, let me know. I'll gladly answer them. I'm always in the comments, you know, the first day the video comes out. And if I don't get to your comment, maybe I can answer it in a video in the future. But anyways, guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. I appreciate you guys riding around with me for a little while. And I'll see you guys on the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. It is super helpful, especially if you got to this point in the video. And if you like motorcycle content, I highly recommend you guys to subscribe. We got a ton of MT10 content we can make in the future. And guys, we'll see you on the next one. Later. Outro crew, I did it. I told you guys I was never giving this thing back, and I didn't. I am an honest person. Outro crew, let me know let me know if I took long enough to buy this thing or not. And if you have an MT10 with an accessory that you think is clutch that I have to get, drop it in the comments. I don't know how many of you guys have MT10s, but if you guys have any recommendations on what I should do to this thing, let me know. I might not have seen something that I need to take advantage of. Thank you guys for getting to the end of the video. Make sure when you put your comments down below, put OC in it. Stands for Outro Crew. That's how I know that you guys made it to the end of the video, because that way I know to love you guys longer. Anyway, I'm done, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Later.